Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the cert-manager bi-weekly meeting. It's the 20th of February 2025, Thursday as always. And we've got a fairly light agenda today, so there isn't really too much uh, prelude that I need to do before we get to that. I would start by saying we did patch releases of all supported cert-manager versions over the last couple of weeks. That's to address a breaking change that Cloudflare made to their API. I suppose that puts more fuel onto the fire of us wanting to move all DNS webhooks outside of the main code base, so we don't have to do a full cert-manager release just for that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much. It seems that that's fixed the issue for people, so that's all well and good. There's not really been much news from any other sub-projects or from cert-manager itself, as far as I'm aware. The main conversation topic that we were just starting to talk about before we started the recording was an issue that was raised recently by uh, Jim from Sweden, who couldn't make it to the meeting. I've just put that in the chat. Um, what we were just about to start discussing before we started the recording was that Adam has been thinking about this, and I'm going to hand over to him so he can tell us what he's thinking about this. Maybe Adam, if you're able to, if you could you summarize the issue at hand as well, just for the benefit of everyone else.
Sure. So the issue is, as it suggested, people want to be able to create certificates off HTTP routes. For those not familiar with Gateway API has two major components: the gateway itself, which defines listener blocks, and your HTTP routes, which define where the traffic goes. So you can break it down into kind of the part owned by the cluster admin and the part owned by the application admin kind of thing. Um, Currently, we support the ability to automatically create certificates for gateways, and we do this by creating certificates for all the hostname blocks on the listeners. But we don't support creating certificates for HTTP routes at all currently. So this is about people wanting that functionality. Um, the thought that I've put into it is I've got a few different things probably to talk about. First of all is I like the idea of this. I like the idea of creating a certificate per HTTP route and then adding it to the array of the gateway, because the gateway can accept multiple secrets for its certificates, so we could add it to that array. It already supports cross namespace for certificates, so we could add it to this array and reference the HTTP route certificate that's generated for this particular route. You do need to create an extra resource called a resource grant or something to say the gateway can access my secret in my namespace, but that'll be doable. The main pain point we're going to run across is working out what listener block we need to add the secret to, because we could have multiple on port 443 with different host names. So we've got to, for each HTTP route, get the parent ref, um, find the gateway, and work out what listener block is going to be impacted. That's going to be the complication here. And the problem with this complication means that it's not going to fit into our existing shim model, because our current shim model is used for both ingress and gateway API objects. And it works off the premise that we're always going to be dealing with one object. So if we want to add this kind of support in cert-manager, we're going to have to write in the controller to handle it. So this is getting to the point now where I think I'd love this feature, but I think we need a design in order to get this progressed. And yeah, while I have thoughts about it, these are things that we can share on a proper design document.
Thank you. That's really helpful context. I tried to parse this when I replied on this ticket earlier, and I bumped against it heavily. Um, so I guess this re-implements some logic from Gateway API that we're effectively needing to do the parent ref stuff and like pull in
Yeah.
a fair chunk of logic there. Yeah.
So not even re-implement, because there's no standard or reference gateway API implementation. It is literally just a spec. But yeah, we will have to do some logic to go. If they annotate their HTTP route to generate certificate, we have to find the parent ref to find the gateway. You can explicitly in a parent ref specify what listener, so that'll be the easy case. But in the
Mhm.
more complicated case, yeah, we need to figure out what listeners we care about, or do the dumb thing and add it to all of the 443 ones, like all the HTTPS ones. Like we could just be dumb about it, but that's the kind of thing that we need to capture in the design.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did anyone else have any questions about this?
I I couldn't see. I'm saying I didn't quite understand it. The host name is defined in the HTTP route. Is there also how does it work right now? How does the gateway shim work if the host name is not in the gateway
It,
resource?
it doesn't work if your gateway is not in the host name's not in the gateway resource currently. Currently, the shim
Uh,
only works if you specify the host name in this resource, but it is completely omittable if you want to allow all host names.
okay. So you can specify the host name in there's two places where you can specify that.
Yes. So, for
Mm,
example, in this case, where they've got well, that's the same domain. Well, that's like 14.843. But say that they want like EU North and an EU West, and they're both on 443, but they've got different listeners for some reason because maybe I don't know they want different certificate refs. Like that case is it gets slightly more complicated because you've got two listeners listening on 443.
right, right.
Yeah.
This is where it gets more complicated. I mean, maybe we just don't support that, and we just assume that we add it to all the four, add it to all the listeners on 443, and it's up to the gateway to figure out which certificate to use. But I don't know. It needs testing, to be honest. It needs packing together some a POC, and it needs an actual design document.
Messing around with it yesterday.
Yeah, I guess I agree with that because I a design document would help us understand it, help everyone understand it.
In some ways, then it seems that the path forward is fairly clear, and that this, I think it's fairly clear this needs a design document to be able to progress in any way. Um, there's no one going to implement this without a design document, I don't think. And even when there is one, there's not necessarily any guarantee that anyone will implement what's in the design doc. But the first step on the road is definitely the design doc, and it's clear that we can put that on the issue. It seems obvious to me.
Should I write up the words that I've said, comment in the ticket, and say because this doesn't fit easily into our current code base, we're gonna request an actual design doc. Um,
If you could, that would be fantastic. Yeah.
cool.
My only remaining question is the one bit that I could work out from looking at it is in one of my comments. I proposed some example YAML. Um, uh, Effectively, the problem being there's no obvious secret name to use. Yeah, this is the one. So there's no obvious secret name in the HTTP route for us to populate. So at the bottom, I've got like a separate annotation with a secret name to use. I don't know if an HTTP route maybe does have a place we could put it, but just going from the examples that the user gave in the OP, I don't know if that's a thing we need to solve or
Yeah.
not.
I mean, yeah, we could generate a short hash and have a deterministic name based off the root object. Like there are things we could do,
Yeah,
like root object dash short hash of the host names in there.
yeah, makes sense.
Like there are ways we could do it for sure. I'll again, yeah, that's I'll put everything in a comment at the end.
Smashing. Well, yeah, it seems clear that that's the path to take on that. So there's no, I don't unless anyone has anything else you want to bring up. I don't see a particular need to linger on it. Okay. So that was, well, I'll need to write that on the agenda on the doc anyway. Did anyone have anything that's not on the agenda that they wanted to bring up and discuss?
I am aware of a bug in the Route 53 code. I think Tim is too. I haven't, because I've been so tied up with work stuff, I haven't really thought too much about it. But it's what is the problem? Trying to remember it now. Anyway, there's an issue with the Route 53 code. Oh, it's to do. Oh, it's to do with the. It's to do with the cleaning up. Like what's the word? Removing unique like timestamps from errors in the Route 53 solver, so that cert-manager doesn't constantly retry Route 53. It's a simple bug, and I think I should try and fix that. It's like an errors as. We're using an errors is statement rather than errors as.
So it's potentially a one character fix then.
It is a
Maybe.
potentially one character fix, and I should have done it before you did 1.17, but I just didn't. So for the
No worries.
record, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Tim's put, is it the one that Tim put in chat?
Yeah, it's been playing on my mind. I feel a bit guilty about it.
I will add that into the agenda since you've mentioned it. Okay, it's in the agenda.
Oh yeah, so there is actually a fix, right? So all I need to do is approve it. Or I suppose if I was being thorough, I need to test it and approve it. And to test it, I'll need to set up all the AWS stuff again, which like that was last year, so I've already forgotten it all. Anyway, I pledge to review and test that.
A pledge. We'll take a pledge. Yeah, I that sounds good to me. I'm sure before too long there'll be another reason to do a release and we'll get it out to people. Does this meet the definition of a backport? It sounds like it does.
I think it probably should be, yeah.
Yeah. Fair play. Well, yeah, that's awesome. Anyone got any questions about the Route 53 bug? Doesn't sound like it. Certainly, I know you're paying with testing the DNS solvers. I was lucky with the Cloudflare issue that I was working on over the last couple of weeks because I use Cloudflare DNS for my own website, so I was able to test it on my own website. But like, if it had been other like Azure or something, I just wouldn't have been able to test.
It's like one of those things, and like when I was working on this, I felt like an expert in it. I was creating AKS clusters like it was just with no effort at all. And now I think I've forgotten everything, so it requires some effort. They've changed the way we log into AWS, haven't they, at work? So I'll have to figure all that out as well. So there's quite a barrier to testing this for me.
Fair play. At the very least, I think it's easier to log into AWS overall, but that's not for the cert-manager meeting.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. That's another good one to fit in. In fact, maybe we'll even go as far as to put that PR into the milestone for 118, so it's definitely captured. Sweet. Did anyone have anything else you wanted to bring up? I'm not hearing much. Okay, well, I suppose this may be quite a short one then, since we've exhausted the agenda and no one suggests anything else. We do have listed on the document that in this situation we can have a look through test grid and see if anything's failing there that might need fixing. Which I'm immediately seeing the branch protector tests are failing and have been for a while. So maybe that's something I should be looking into. Let's have a look.
That is because we've got too many private repos in the cert-manager org. I did look at that and again forgot to mention it.
Oh, this is on the saying webhook certlib, and I'm guessing that's the thing that Erik's been working on, right?
Maybe.
I don't really see a reason why that couldn't be made public, to be fair. There's not really a problem with having our working be in the open. Maybe I'll add an action item to check in with Erik about that and just see if he's all right with it. I don't really see why it couldn't be public, even though it's work in progress. That's webhook certlib. Not the most exciting content to watch me typing into a document, but there we go. Okay, that's the only thing that seems long-term unhealthy. There's the usual flakes on many things. I am actually now seeing oh, sorry, it's the pre-submits. We've not run any of the FeatureGate disabled or best practice tests using pre-submits, but that's to be expected that they haven't been run. I suppose they should be running on the periodics, and they are. So that's a false alarm from me. We do also have the sub-projects test grid as well, but that's passing. That's just testing the Istio CSR with the latest available version of Istio. So it's good to see that that's passing.
I didn't know we had that. Where? Oh, I see it now. Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah. Ideally, we'll have that for every sub-project. That's been playing on my mind as well. The Istio CSR is more important because we did hit a breaking change in Istio that we needed to like emergency fix Istio CSR for. But
that is cool.
yeah. Well, here's the man of the moment connecting to audio. Welcome, Erik. We can't hear you if you're trying to speak. Erik, it's quite good timing that you've joined because I've just had an action item to talk to you, so we can now talk to you now. So our some of our tests are failing around branch protection because we have too many private repos, and that includes webhook certlib, which you've been working on.
Cool.
Basically, GitHub is complaining that we have too many private repos.
Yep.
Do you have any opposition to just opening that up so it's like just to get rid of the problem?
Obviously not.
Excellent. Well, then
Perfectly okay with it.
I will.
The only downside is that there might be a risk of someone trying to use it before it's anything released from it, but I mean, they just have to live with it.
Well, I can see on the main branch, at least at the moment, there's not anything there, so they'd have to use a separate branch. I'll add a GitHub description as well to say do not use. We can just update that when it's ready to go.
Yeah.
But I'll make it public now, so then it's one less thing for me to forget to do.
Which other repos do we have private, and for what reason? You probably discussed this already before I joined.
I'm not sure, to be fair. Can certainly have a look. Got 39 repositories in total. I'm not sure if you can filter by public or private.
I'm just curious, actually. No
Yeah.
other reason.
I don't think as a general rule we have much that's private, that's for sure. There's a closed repo called API, which I think was intended to be where we would put like cert-manager, CRD defs and what have you. It's a separate place so they could evolve outside of the repo. Yeah. So that's one commit from 2 years ago, which is initial commit. So that we could probably delete that one, to be fair. It's for James. Fair play. In any case, there's no harm in having the webhook certainly be public. We also have controller framework, reusable components used by cert-manager controllers. Not sure what that is. It's Tim. Tim looks like Tim might be the expert on that one. It's an experiment. Fair enough. Tim, do you have any opposition to that being made public? Controller fun time,
Yeah. Controller fun time, yeah. Alternative to controller runtime, more fun.
It's not complete yet, or it's not used yet. Do we want to make it public so that the tests stop failing? What's the main reason?
I think. Well, I don't know if I guess the first thing is we'll find out if webhook certlib will make the test not fail. Generally, I don't really see why we should have too many closed repos in the cert-manager org. Like we can work in the public, and like if someone starts using it, that's their problem, not ours. But I'll leave it for now.
Is it that the branch protector will try and apply its rules to every single repo under the cert-manager org, and it will fail with any private repository? So even if we make Erik's repo public, the branch the branch protector job will still fail when it tries to apply the rules to Tim's repo.
Potentially.
But is our org allowed to have private repos at all? Has the contract changed in some way, or did we pay our bills? I'm pretty sure GitHub is charging money for having anything private.
They certainly don't for individual users, but it could well be that the org they would want it to be.
I don't think anyone's paying any bills.
No,
cert-manager org.
If anyone is, it would be the CNCF, but I don't even think that they are.
I don't know if it applies to open source. I think there's open source exemptions.
The reason we're not able to set those branch protections on the private repos is because we have a free account. It's a premium feature to have branch protection on private repos.
I see.
Okay. So you're allowed to have a private repo, but you cannot protect your branches without paying up.
Yeah, and other features.
Yeah, I mean, they have to get money somewhere, so just have to accept it.
I'm not mad about it. At the end of the day, we can certainly be. There's no real reason that we need to have much closed in the cert-manager org. That's what it comes down to. Just to keep it public, and then we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think the idea was to have something private in the beginning, just to avoid people from start consuming it before we thought it was ready to use.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we don't release anything or create any tags, I mean, that's just how it is.
I wonder about like the Go module stuff. Do we ever get into a tricky situation if we like create packages in subfolders, could that cause issues?
Could you explain how that would cause an issue? I'm not immediately seeing that.
So what happens, for example, if you have like folders right now in the repository that are their own package, and then in the future we might decide to not make them separate packages, but make them part of the main package, the parent one.
I mean, except from being a breaking change, it's not a problem. Or are you thinking of something else?
Right, yeah, so will that not be a problem if that's part of the history and like cached in Go mod cache and so on? I don't know how this works in Go mod cache.
But what's the link? What's the link with private repositories? I missed the link there.
Well, because that's what I was kind of trying to prevent, have like crazy stuff in Go mod cache for some experiment that I'm running.
So if you'd made the controller framework public from the get-go, it would immediately be picked up by the Go some database or whatever it is, and then you'd never be able to withdraw it.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, with like packages and subfolders, does that ever get me into problems? If I have a package right now in a subfolder and then later I decide to not make that a separate package, will that be a problem or not? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I see.
That makes
It
sense.
must be a common thing, though, mustn't it? I mean, someone just does a proof of concept, and in the same repository they change everything around again.
Is the solution to that long term, like the experiment happens outside of the cert-manager org and then it moves there when it's more stable?
Probably yes. That could be one way of doing it. But it's harder to collaborate when it's has to be in a private account.
Are there like limits on who you can invite as a collaborator for private repos? Because you get more allowance as private repos, right? Like for an individual user. I suppose it's something to keep an eye on, isn't it?
Yeah.
In any case, webhook certlib is now a public repo, and I've put a massive do not use work in progress in the description.
That's good.
Yeah, we'll see what that does to the tests. If we have to start opening up others, I don't see anything in there that we can't. The API one, probably we want to reserve that namespace in Go modules, like Tim was talking about there, but I don't like. Hopefully, we don't have to cross that bridge.
Do you think we will ever get to a point where we are able to to have the API separate from the controllers? I thought we might have had the idea of creating a new module inside the cert-manager project or something, so you can have PRs which affects both, because it would be nice to have it separate, but it puts a great burden on contributions, both from us and from others.
Yeah, definitely. I may be misremembering. I feel like my gut was that probably we wouldn't have a separate source of truth for the API definitions, but maybe we could sync from the cert-manager repo out to somewhere else, like in an automated
Like
way.
Kubernetes is doing it.
Yeah. Then it's easy to make a change all in one piece in the cert-manager repo, but we remove the cert-manager dependency for people if they want to. Maybe that's not the way to go for some reason. But he says from the darkness.
I wonder. I wonder now when we have workspaces, and I'm not an expert on this, but I remember talking with Tim and James on KubeCon in Amsterdam about 2 years ago. Because we would be very interested in being able to consume the API of cert-manager without pulling in all the other dependencies that are now there.
Definitely, yeah. This ties into something I've been thinking about more broadly, actually, where there's quite a lot of logic in various places in the Go standard library with like X509 and crypto and all that we would probably want to reuse, but that is not available for import in whatever way. So one example of that is the way that when in the Go standard library you generate a serial number for a X509 certificate, it has a different method to what cert-manager uses, and its method has larger random numbers and special logic to work around the implications of that without going into too much detail. But like, as an ideal, we would just use the same logic there. There's no easy way for us to consume that. And there's something to be done there. There's like, I could see how it could work if we had something that copied code from one place to another for sort of like vendoring blocks of Go code into different projects, and sort of keeping it automatically up to date. I think there's something to be said for that. I see a few uses for that, but that's a different topic, I guess, really. In any case, I think I'm actually just now noticing that the branch protector job runs every hour, it seems. Or like, yeah, pretty much every hour. Not really sure if that's right, but in any case, when it next runs, it will maybe gives a different error. So we've moved forwards on that at least. I'm going to add the Istio CSR test grid or the sub-project test grid to the docs as well, to the meeting notes, so that we can check that when we have time as well. I already asked if anyone had anything spare, but that was before you joined, Erik. Did you have anything else you wanted to discuss that's not on the agenda?
No, I mean, this week has been, yeah, terrible. But so that's one of the reasons I'm late. So my mind hasn't been in cert-manager area this week.
Fair enough.
We
I'm
are
sorry to hear it's
migrating
not been
a
a great week.
container network in our clusters, and it's been a bit painful.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's going okay now, but I mean, it was in one of the most important clusters, which is of course special in it's like a unique environment almost. So we had some new challenges that we haven't seen before.
Fair play. Well, certainly it sounds to me like there's not much point in continuing to record. So I'll bring things to an end. As usual, if you're watching this for some reason on YouTube, please reach out and tell us why you're watching and get involved. Like, it's always nice to have people join the community. Like and subscribe while you're doing that, and I'll stop the recording. Thanks, everyone.